Assalamu alaikum students. This is Dr. Nikhat Aslam from the Department of Biochemistry, Independent Medical College. Today we are going to start our new topic, biochemical genetics, and in the genetics we will first study about the DNA structure, replication and repair. The DNA structure you have studied much about in a very detailed manner in the first year, but for the metabolism of the DNA there are some key points you must know. So first of all, the introduction of the DNA and RNA. Nucleic acids, they are of two types, DNA and RNA. They are required for the genetic expression of the they are required for the expression of genetic information. And nucleic acids, they are present in the nucleus, mitochondria, and in the plants in the chloroplast. Prokaryotes, along with its single chromosomes, they also contain plasmids. And genetic information in the DNA is copied and transferred to daughter cells by replication. And this replication must be in a very precise manner. And when this DNA is expressed and the RNA, this is selective expression. Not all the DNA is changed into the RNA. There is the selective expression. And this transcription is the first stage in the expression of genetic information. Then this mRNA then this mRNA is translated into the proteins and it completes the genetic expression. This diagram shows the central dogma. This is the flow of information from the DNA to the RNA to the proteins. From the DNA to the protein, flow of information from DNA to RNA to protein. This is called the central dogma, and it is descriptive of all the organisms with the exception of some viruses that have the RNA as their genetic information. Structure of the DNA. This is the DNA is a polymer of deoxyribonucleoside monophosphate, and they are covalently linked by the 3' to 5' phosphodiester bond. With the exception of some viruses that contain the single-stranded DNA or RNA, this double-stranded DNA is present in all the eukaryotes, and this sequence of the linked deoxyribose polynucleoside monophosphate, this is the primary structure. And this primary structure, this single-stranded DNA, it coiled around a second strand of the DNA, forming the double-stranded, which is the secondary structure. So the double helix is a secondary structure, and the primary structure is the polymer of deoxyribonucleoside monophosphate. At the one end of the DNA, in the sequence of the DNA, there is the presence of polarity. At one end there is the 5', and in the second end there is the 3' end, and the sequence is always written from the 5' end of the chain to the 3' end, right? And it will be read as thymine, adenine, cytosine, guanine, right? This is the double helical structure of the DNA. This red ribbon, it shows a red ribbon, it shows the deoxyribose backbone, deoxyribose phosphate backbone, and this backbone, this red ribbon, it is a hydrophilic structure, and inside inside this backbone is the bases, and these bases, they are the hydrophobic in nature. The bases are in hydrophobic nature, and the coiling of these deoxyribose phosphate backbone around each other, it forms a double helical structure, and their coiling, it makes, they are coiled in such a way that they form a major groove, then minor groove, major groove, and then minor groove. And these grooves, they are the site of action of some of the drugs. For example, actinomycin, they exert their cytotoxic effect by intercalating into the narrow grooves of the DNA. This is the this picture, it shows the base pairing of the DNA. Adenine, it joins, it forms the bonds, two bonds. These bonds, they are hydrogen bonds. Two hydrogen bonds, they are present between the adenine and thymine, and three hydrogen bonds, they are present between the guanine and cytosine. These two chains, they are present in anti-parallel direction. One runs from 5' to 3', and other runs from 3' to the 5' direction. And this pairing of the nucleotides, it forms a Karagov rule. It is the amount of A equals to the amount of T, and amount of G equals to the amount of C. So in any part of their DNA, if we do the sequence of the nucleotides, if we have the sequence of nucleotide, the adenine will always the amount of adenine will always be equal to the amount of the thymine, and G will always equal to the amount of C. So the total amount of the purines is, will be equal to the total amount of pyrimidine. And these hydrogen bonds plus hydrophobic interaction between the stacked bases, it stabilizes the structure of double helical DNA. Structure of the DNA. So more about the structure of the DNA. The DNA strands, they can be separated by the altering its pH or by heating, but this alteration of the pH and heating will not disrupt or will not destroy the covalent phosphodiester bonds. Only the double helical structure will be disrupted. So the temperature at which one half of the helical structure is lost is defined as the melting temperature. And about the melting temperature, you have studied much about in the first year, and their melting temperature can be monitored by measuring the absorbance in the spectrophotometer at 280 nm. The DNA strands, the helical structure can reform by again at appropriate at appropriate conditions, and this process is called the renaturation or reannealing. This graph shows the two types of the DNA. The first type, it contains high AT content. High AT content, it means that the DNA will be melted at lower temperature, because only two hydrogen bonds, they are present between A and T. So the DNA which contains high AT contents will have the low Tm, and the DNA which contains the high GC content will have the high melting temperature. These are the three structural forms of the DNA: A form, B form, and Z form. B form is the DNA, it is the chromosomal DNA, and this is the structure which was described by the Watson and Crick. And the A form is the slightly the A form is also a form of the DNA in a dehydrating by little bit, a moderately by molarity dehydrating, B form, A form is produced. It is also right-handed structure, and Z form can occur naturally in the region of the DNA that have a sequence of alternating purines and pyrimidine. For example, poly-GC content. Double-stranded DNA is bound to a complex mixture of protein called the chromatin, complex mixture of protein to form chromatin. So the chloroplast and mitochondria, they contain closed circular DNA. Prokaryotes also contain single, double-stranded, supercoiled circular chromosome in association with non-histone proteins. So histone proteins are not present here, only non-histone proteins, and it will form nucleoid. Some prokaryotes also contain extra chromosomal DNA. It is called the plasmids. Organization of the DNA. So this is the topic which is present in the second year syllabus. Organization. How organization of eukaryotic DNA it occurs. As you already know that human, they have 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs of chromosomes, and these all form the about 1 to 2 meters long. All 46 chromosomes, they are in total they have the total length of 1 to 2 meters long. They are in such a way, they are effectively packaged in such a way that they are present in a very small portion of the cell and the DNA. So the complex of DNA and protein is called the chromatin. The DNA in the chromatin is very tightly associated with protein, and these proteins, they are positively charged and they are called the histone proteins, and which package and order the DNA into a structural unit called the nucleosome. Then this picture, it shows the structure of nucleosomes. This is a nucleosome. You are seeing that these green balls, they are the histone proteins. They are associated with the strand of the DNA. The strand of the DNA is coiled twice around a histone proteins. In a nucleosome, there are 4 types of histone proteins present: H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. They are present twice in a nucleosome core. And the fifth histone proteins, H1 protein, this is not the part of nucleosome core. So total there are 5 types of histone proteins: H2A, H2B, H3, H4 and H1. These histone proteins, they are positively charged because they have a high content of lysine and arginine. The neighboring nucleosomes, they are joined with each other by a linker DNA. This part, it shows the linker DNA, and it is about the length of 50 base pairs. And in the linker DNA, H1 histone protein, it is present. The histone proteins, they can be at the end terminal of the histone proteins, they can be acetylated, methylated, phosphorylated, and these modification mean acetylation, methylation and phosphorylation. These modification, they affect how tightly histone proteins they bind with the DNA. And this modification of the histone proteins is the example of epigenetics. What is epigenetics? This is the heritable change in the gene expression caused without alteration of nucleotide sequence. So these modifications, they are heritable changes, but these changes do not occur in the nucleotide sequence. These nucleosomes, they are effectively packed, they are more effectively packed into a filament which is called the nucleofilament, right? Nucleosomes, these nucleosomes you are seeing here, this is the nucleosomes, they can be effectively more effectively packed and tightly stacked to form a nucleofilament, and this structure assumes a shape of structure then assumes the shape of coil, and this coil then is form loop, and these then loops, they are anchored, these loops are anchored by a nuclear scaffold containing several proteins. Additional levels of organization lead to a final chromosomal structure. So this is the organization of eukaryotic DNA. The nucleosome, they are tightly packed into the nucleofilament. This nucleofilament assume the shape of coil, and this coil assume the shape of loop, and these loops, they are packed inside nuclear scaffold proteins along with the nuclear scaffold proteins, and then the further organization, additional level of organization, it lead to the final structure of chromosomes. Parental nucleosomes, they are disassembled to allow the access of the DNA during replication. So in the replication, during process of replication, these nucleosomes, their structure, they are disrupted, the histone proteins, they are separated from the DNA, and but once the DNA is synthesized, the nucleosides, they reform rapidly. What is karyotyping? This is a picture of a human karyotype of a man with a normal 46 chromosomes. You are seeing here that 46th chromosome, it contains one X and one Y chromosome. This is a picture taken in the metaphase point, and all the 23 pairs of chromosome, they are shown here. Any type of the there are some type of abnormalities which occur due to the altered changes, or if there is some extra X chromosome or missing Y chromosome, so they can be sub abnormality. So what is the karyotyping? It is a process of pairing and ordering all the chromosome of an organism. It provides a genome-wide snapshot of individual's chromosome. They are prepared by using standardized staining procedures. For example, the picture I have shown you, that it was stained with the Genza stain method, and it reveals the characteristic structural feature of each chromosome. And this karyotyping, this test, it helps to identify genetic problems as a cause of a disorder or disease. For example, Turner syndrome. In the Turner syndrome, there is a single X chromosome, 45. In the 45th position, a 45th chromosome is only a single X chromosome. This is the Turner syndrome. In Klinefelter syndrome, it is the most common male chromosome, and in the Klinefelter syndrome, there is a presence of extra X chromosome. It is called the 47XXY chromosome. Edwards syndrome, it is caused by trisomy. It means 3 copies of 18th chromosome it is present. Down syndrome, it is a very common chromosomal disorder. It is caused by trisomy of chromosome 21. So students, this was all about the structure of the DNA, organization and karyotyping. In the next lecture, I will start with the how the DNA is replicated, what are the requirement and steps in the prokaryotic and eukaryotic DNA replication. So best wishes, good luck.